Hi, I'm Chantal.
And I'm Mickey, and we're the faces behind Agile Caribbean Link. So today we just wanted to spend a few minutes and talk with you about how it is that even while working remotely, you can ensure that your team remains engaged and also has that same energy, that same synergy that you normally do when you're working from office.
So let's get straight into it. So, when we started to work remotely, I first thought about how do I transition my team from working in office to working at home, and how do I maintain the same, as Nicola said, synergy and energy that we shared in office. So I thought about activities that we could, just throw into some of our meetings where we just talked about random things, talked about things that were concerning us, things that made us happy, things that made us laugh recently, what our plans for the weekend were. We just spoke. And I tried to ensure that all of our meetings started off with a very light question or a very non related, work related question.
So it's interesting that you said that, Shan, because I found that when we just started working remotely, even going on for daily stand-ups, yes, we had it scheduled for a specific time, but that natural conversation, that natural energy wasn't taking place. So for us, we start daily stand-ups at 10 o'clock. So we'll come on a few minutes to 10, we'll get straight into what happened yesterday or talk through the stories and what we're trying to accomplish. And then the conversation ended. So that natural vibe, that natural flair that we usually have in office, where even throughout the day we were able to just have a good time while we're still working towards achieving what we need to, it was missing. And so I completely understand your stance in terms of what you were trying to accomplish.
That's right, Nikki, because transitioning from working in office to working remotely, it's almost as if all your conversations with your team would take place only when you have a meeting schedule. And that's so unnatural. Like, we're not used to that. We're used to being in the same space and just conversations just happen when they naturally want to happen in our space. So, how do you bring that into working remotely when everybody's working from their own home? So another thing that we tried at that point in time was to leave a virtual room open so everybody can stay in the room. And if it is that you had a meeting or you wanted to take a break or you just needed to drop off a call, you can just let us know that you're gonna be disappearing for a while, and you can come up. But everybody else who's working, as you work, you can just stay in the room muted. And if it is that you had a question for somebody, or you had a joke you wanted to run, or there's a news story that you came across and you wanted to share, just unmute. Let's talk. And it became such a new natural atmosphere that we all shared virtually, and I feel like that has helped to keep our teams in sync.
And I think what works for us, so while we keep our room open for the entire day, even if everybody's not there, the fact that it is available and you can have that quick collaboration, you can problem solve around anything that you need, and just that conversation, as Shan was mentioning, it actually does wonders in ensuring that yes, we still feel like we're separate, we're in separate homes, we're all across the island, but yes, we are still working together as a team, and we're still keeping that communication and some amount of the energy and the vibe that we had while we're in the office.
Yeah. And another thing that you can also bear in mind is you don't have to wait till a meeting time is scheduled to start to open your room.
Right.
You can open your room way before, and if it is that people want to hop on and have conversations, they can have conversations. I think that is also important as well.
Yeah.
And even leaving the room open for like an hour after work has finished. So if anybody is still finishing up something before the end of the day, if they need to collaborate with somebody, they can stay online and they can do so freely.
Good stuff. What's another tip that has been working for you?
So another thing that we came across when we first started to work remotely was the whole video on, video off dilemma. Some persons wanted to keep their videos off because they want to maintain the privacy of their homes, or they just didn't have a workspace set up because nobody gave us any warning about this working from home thing. So one thing we learned was give people notice if you want them to have the video on, because there are times when we're running activities and we need to see someone's face, or we want to see everybody's faces, especially when you're interacting with a new team. We give them heads up in the invitation. We will require your video to be on so that they're more inclined and they're ready to, have the cameras on when they get to the room.
Yeah, and no, for me personally, that was a tricky one because, as Shan said, it wasn't just maintaining the privacy of my home, but I don't know. I think I'm naturally shy. And so even though it was still my team, and even when you're going to other meetings, it was all right. So everybody's saying keep your video on. And not only that, we have constraints because we know that we have Wi-Fi issues. So even in some areas in my house, were dead spots or are dead spots. So we had to consider that. And so as a team, we had decided, hey, for certain meetings, we'll definitely decide we want cameras on. For others, it may not be mandatory. And so that's a conversation that you need to have with your team. And when you're heading into any other meeting too, perhaps if you're unsure, just ask. For some of us, I know that what persons have done is to even put up a picture of themselves. So it still gives you that sense that you're seeing who you're speaking with without the camera being on based on some of the constraints that we may have.
Sounds good, Nick. So another thing that we wanted to solve for, which ended up being one stone killing two birds, was how do we as a team ensure that we're still having fun together? That's one. But then we also realized that, how do we help our team to maintain a healthy work-life balance? So what I tried to do with my team was we instituted a daily fun activity that we did half an hour before work was supposed to be ending. And yes, there are times when persons still wanted to continue working, and I allowed them to, because at the end of the day, that's what we're really supposed to be doing. But we also allowed persons that even after playing the game, if you still wanted to finish up something, go ahead and finish it up. But you knew that the fun activity marked that the work day was coming to an end. So some of the fun activities that we've tried, Nikki, share a couple.
So for us, one of our favorite games is actually ABC Fast or Slow. Um, for me, it's a bit technical to explain, but we found an online version. Categories online.net, so you can check it out. It's fun to play, and it's for any age group as far as I can see. What else have you tried, Jan?
So my team loves a virtual Pictionary. So we use Scribbler, and it's so fun that and it's engaging. Like we almost go over the time every single time we play, just because it's so much fun.
So we've also played Spot the Difference, which was hella fun as well.
Another one that we've loved is Guess the Song. Simply just using YouTube. So we have a team member who orchestrates everything, and she selected the songs, and she played the intro or a part of the song, and we had to hurry up and guess which song we thought it was and who was the singer.
And so I think one of the big things for me as well, Shan, is when we just started working remotely and we thought about having some kind of team activities, I thought that as a Scrum Master, I needed to champion this cause. And it felt like a lot. Because just finding activities that you thought were just engaging enough and would just get the team excited to play, it was a little bit burdensome. And so I found that once I threw it out to the team and other team members started finding other activities, it was even far more engaging because guess what? They even found more interesting games that I was finding so far. And so I think that's a good thing that we need to also, as Scrum Masters, bear in mind that yes, you're helping your team to move along. Yes, you need to be a facilitator in some instances, a mother, a father, whatever it is that you feel to help your team. But it's not left all on you.
That's true. That sounds really good, Nikki, and I totally agree with you. Another thing too, as a leader or as a team lead in the space, you don't have to always overcomplicate everything. You don't always have to find the most fun activity, the most engaging activity. Sometimes you just need to find something that's simple. So we've played something as simple as we're telling a story and each team member just contributes a sentence. It wasn't exactly fun, but we all participated and it was still an activity that we did together. So
that's all right, Shan. And I know for you as well, you're not afraid to say to your team, if you realize that the team has had a hell of a day, so hey, just call it an early one. Now, early doesn't mean 12 noon, but you'll have some discretion to figure out, hey, when it's just time for us to call it quits.
yeah, that's right, Nikki. We don't want our teams to burn out, and at the end of the day, we want the team to be caring, realizing that we work with humans. So just be understanding and compassionate and say, guys, have an early evening, and I'll see you tomorrow morning fresh again. Simple.
So those are just some of the things that we've tried that have been working for us.
Feel free to like, comment, share with someone who may find some of the ideas that we've shared useful. Talk soon.
Action. And I know for you as well, if you realize that your team has had a hell of a day, you're not afraid to say, hey, let's just call it an early one. Now, early doesn't mean 12 noon.
We're gonna need to provide. Sorry, mom. She asked for the covers.
You know how hard that was for me. Like,
Hey, me are going good,
Sure. And that's all right, Shan. And I know for you as well, you're not afraid. See? Mojo gone.